Okay, Grumpy Vegan Grandad here, and with Vegan Gains, Richard Burgess. Can everybody hear us okay? Give us a shout in the chat. Let us know if you can hear us.
Yeah, it looks like it's working.
Yeah, it's working. Right, cool. It takes a while for there's a funny sort of glitch with StreamYard where it takes a while for people to come over. I've got no viewers at the moment, so it's a little bit weird.
Says you got 30 watching right now when I'm looking at.
Yeah, it's just popped up on mine now. It's just popped up on mine, 26, and yeah, we're all good. Right, so welcome everybody. As you know, some of you may know Vegan Gains, some of you may not know Vegan Gains, but a quick introduction, please, Richard, and tell people a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been vegan for 10 years. I went vegan just before my 19th birthday after watching a Gary Yourofsky speech. Been doing bodybuilding, weight training primarily for a number of years. I've been kind of doing it on and off. I've gotten into cycling really hard and kind of focused on that for a while. Then I got back into weight training. And yeah, I've been running my YouTube channel for the last 5-6 years, where it's mostly focused on health, nutrition, and ethics. But, I delve into other political topics as well.
So, yeah, you do. I mean, let's just expand a little more. You started your YouTube in 2014. At present, you've got 348,000 subscriptions, over 66 million views. I think you're nearly 30 years old now.
Yeah, 29.
29, and you still can't do a wheelie on a motorbike. That's pretty sad, mate.
Like, I was getting close, man, and then I ended up crashing pretty hard over at a skate park, and I got this huge hematoma on my hip, and then after that, like, I couldn't really ride hard for a little while. So yeah, I just...
Mate, believe me, I could never do wheelies on my bike, but I did get the record for the highest ramp in my neighborhood. So
nice.
it was that high that it bent the pedals when I landed. You know what I mean? But that was broken a little bit later by some knobhead on a new BMX. So we won't go along there. But yeah, you're married to Jasmine.
Yeah.
Who you kidnapped from Europe, I believe.
Yeah, Belgium.
Belgium, held her at gunpoint till she married you. So, growing up, Richard, this is what I want to know about you, because this is sort of a bit about you that people aren't really aware of. So, take me right back to sort of when you was growing up. Were you in a rich family, middle class family, poor family?
Yeah, it was middle class. I think over time our economic status kind of improved a bit, but I'd say pretty much dead on middle class. I learned pretty early on that I wasn't super well off because I played hockey, and all the kids that play hockey, at least in Toronto area, holy crap, a lot of them are friggin' rich as hell. I was invited over to some kids on my hockey team's houses, and they had huge, gigantic, insane friggin' mansions. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't have it too bad, but comparatively, I was like, oh man, I wish I lived in that house.
And that's the thing, mate. It's like you don't miss anything if you don't see it. But as soon as you see it, you start thinking, whoa, hold on a minute, why haven't I got this shit?
Yeah.
So how did you get on with your parents? Were both your parents present growing up? Or?
Yeah, so my mom and dad, they were when I was a kid, they kind of had a bit of an on again, off again sort of relationship. They're trying to get back together, and yeah, I think they just didn't really work out. They didn't really fight too much. Even when I wasn't around, it's not like they hid fights, behind a wall so I didn't get upset. Yeah, they just didn't really work out as a couple, basically. And I just spent most of my life just living with my mom and grandparents.
Right. And what was school like for you? Were you academic? Were you the school clown? Yeah, I hated school. I hated
every school, every year. Pretty much the only reason that I really had any interest in showing up was just girls. Even when I was really, really young. Even before I went to school, daycare, Yeah, I was only interested in girls ever. So
Really, really.
yeah.
And what sort of stature were you then? I mean, I know you're a 6'3" guy now, but
Yeah, I was always the biggest, tallest, strongest kid. I think like maybe there were some weird freaks that just grew taller than me like one year, but yeah, I was usually the biggest, tallest, strongest kid.
I mean, I was a total short ass all the way through school, and then suddenly I shot up like a beanpole. But yeah, so bullying was never a problem then at school. You never sort of were you the bully or were you the bullied?
No, so I don't know. I kind of like I'm pretty antisocial and I'm not great with making a lot of friends, so my friend groups were always really small. But yeah, I never like bullied anyone or anything. If anything, like I had some kids pick on me, but that never really lasted for too long. I think the biggest issue I've always had is just some teachers or principals and shit just didn't like me. I think I've had the biggest issue with bullying with teachers and principals.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was the same at my school. I mean, we still had corporal punishment where they could use a leather strap to hit us with, and I got it all the time. In fact, I opted for it rather than being kept in school behind. I'd just like hold your hands out, whack. Yeah, thanks. See you later. Is that it? But it made me rebel. It made me totally rebel. But would you say that the kind of person to stand up for people? Would you walk past people bullying other people? Would you ignore it? Would you keep away from it?
Like, I think for most of my school years, like there wasn't any big issues with bullying. I think only in it was grade 7. Yeah, I think it was grade 7. There was one girl who was kind of mentally challenged. I think she got hit by a car and she might have had autism or something. She was just a little weird. She got picked on a bit, and I'd tell everybody to like just shut up and leave her alone.
Yeah, because I only ask because it's been a part of my life that I've never been able to walk by or keep my mouth shut. It's got me in trouble, and I'm just trying to track the movements towards veganism, you know, because basically veganism is standing up for innocent victims.
Yeah, I mean, I had really like I don't think people understand the extent to like how antisocial I am. It's a pretty recent thing for me to actually talk to people and have friends and stuff. Yeah, especially after school when I wasn't forced to socialize with anyone. I literally just keep to myself. Like I kept to myself as much as I could. I literally didn't talk to anyone pretty much. What really like bridged that gap for me from veganism was this like really weird, crazy out of body experience I had when I had surgery, an E. coli infection in my knee, and I required surgery. I think I overdosed on opiates. And so basically I was put under for surgery 2 days in a row. And then I was on the highest dose of morphine they could give me. And then 2 nurses, one gave me Percocets and another gave me OxyContin. And I think they didn't tell or know what was going on. So I took way too much. And then like I felt myself dying. And then I had this crazy out of body experience where I just like became the universe and felt everything. Before that, I was just so insanely antisocial and couldn't like connect with anyone. And I think that allowed me to kind of bridge the gap like with ethics and be a little more empathic.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think it was just some genetic? I don't know. Why was you like that?
I think it's so Jasmine actually thinks I might be on the autism spectrum. So it could be. I know some people who are autistic, they tend to be really antisocial.
Yeah.
My parents are sort of like that too. My dad, especially, he's pretty antisocial. He kind of keeps to himself a lot. And just my upbringing. My parents, for whatever reason, they didn't really want me having friends when I was a kid. So I think just a combination of genetic and, you know, what is it? Nature and nurture.
Yeah.
That's what made me that way.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I've always considered myself on the ADHD spectrum, which some people have likened to somewhere on the autism spectrum, because I couldn't concentrate. I'm always 100 miles an hour. I think it's gone on into adulthood, but I'm like 53 now, so I'm way beyond sort of worrying about it. It's made me the way I am. I've never been able to keep a job down. I've done crazy shit in my life because it manifests itself as risk taking all the time, you know. And so yeah, there's not much I can do about it now, and I've learned to cope with it, and I'm glad I have. I'm comfortable in my skin. I'm comfortable with who I am. If people don't like me, they can fuck off, you know. So yeah, I get it totally, mate. I really do.
Some of those problems can be a good thing, though. Like it sort of narrows things down for you, and it kind of makes it easier to fit into a comfortable place, because a lot of people can tolerate a lot more things. And, you know, if you have a weird problem, like, I don't know, ADD or autism, like you can only tolerate so much. So you're kind of narrowed into working or doing things that you're comfortable with.
Definitely. Yeah, that's really interesting. So what happened when you sort of left school up until you started your YouTube in 2014? Did you get a job? Were you working? Did you make money? Did you?
Yeah, so right when I left school, I started doing photography. So my first camera was a Nikon D7000. And yeah, I did a few small photography jobs, particularly for somebody who was a friend of mine at the time. He was doing fitness modeling, and I did some like fitness stuff. Then I ended up getting more serious into it, and I got like a really serious professional camera. I got a Nikon D4, and continued doing photography. Most of the jobs I ended up getting were shooting nightclubs. Those are like pretty common and easy to get. And I was doing personal training as well. I worked for a gym that primarily trained hockey players, and I just did dryland training with them. And I also had my own sort of personal clients. And yeah, I just did that for a while just learning about training, nutrition on my own. And then I just got more and more into YouTube. I didn't like start my channel and uploading for a long time, but I just argue with people for hours sometimes, just in YouTube comments. And then that's kind of how I ended up just making my YouTube channel. I just got so fed up with all the stupid crap and arguing with people in the comments, where I just figured it would probably be a better, you know, waste of my time to just upload videos. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that, because that's something I fell into before I started chasing the acting career, was photography. But I sort of did street photography. I went urbexing, climbing into old buildings and doing photographs and that, going through tunnels and finding old war sites. And yeah, I really enjoyed photography. It's funny that, it's a funny connection. But I really enjoyed it. I had a Canon though, you know, because those are the optimal cameras, you know. It's amateurs who use Nikons, but we'll just brush over that, mate.
Well, Nikon for a while they were worse, but when I got my D4, it had the best low light performance. And since I did street photography, I did a lot of night shooting, and I also shot clubs a lot, so it made sense to go for that. Yeah, because that is an important thing as well. That is low light, because especially doing street photography, it helps so much. So the reason I latched onto your channel, because I've been vegan 5 years now, and I sort of started looking at YouTube, and what you said about starting a YouTube channel is a similar reason to why I've started mine. But what I found I was doing was arguing with people on Facebook a lot, and I learned the responses by doing that over and over, because people would ask the same questions. So I'd go away and research them, and then come back with the answer. And it was like, and it trained me how to sort of debate. And I feel since I've been vegan, I've become more logical in my thinking, because you've got to be. Yeah, you're forced to.
You're forced to do it, because there's so much illogical shit thrown at you that you've got to sort of wheedle it out and give a precise answer. Because the minute you start umming and ahhing and going, you've lost the argument straight away. So you've got to be precise and on point and say, yeah, this is it. But I latched onto your channel because you started doing a series called Worst of the Fitness Industry. Yeah. And what you were doing was basically calling out big steroid using bodybuilders who were using their physiques to sell protein powders and other pharmaceuticals to make money.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. You even went to like expos and pulled them out in front of the camera. And you've got some guts, mate. You really have got some guts to do that. But I get your point, because body image now with young people, especially with, I call them the Instagram generation now, is everybody's posting. And if you haven't got the body, you use filters. And I think there's going to be, there is a major problem with steroids.
Yeah.
As an ex-steroid user myself, I don't hide anything. It is a vicious circle to get into. I know we talked for 5 minutes on it previously to come in live, but tell us a little bit about your thinking behind that.
Well, I never ended up taking steroids personally, and there's a number of reasons for that. I was well aware of potential side effects like mood issues, mood disturbances can cause depression, like rage. There's the roid rage thing. I have a really short fuse. That'd probably be a bad idea for me to take it.
Definitely.
How it affects your heart, your health, especially heart health. I've also seen a lot of people, like I've had training partners who take steroids, and some of them, they were like really serious bodybuilders and they just kept taking it. Others, they were kind of doing it more recreationally. And as soon as they stopped, they melted and they had no friggin' interest in training anymore. So yeah, I was a little worried. I thought about taking steroids here and there, especially after I had my knee surgeries, like just to, give me a boost to get back into training and everything. But yeah, after I saw some of my training partners, like that happened to them, where after they stopped, they just melted and then they had no interest training. They're like, they had no energy. They just, didn't have the drive to go back into the gym and train, because, with steroids, you can make easy progress. Like you just inject and then like weights fly up and you get bigger and bigger. But then when you're natural, it's like, it sucks. You have to like program and you only like add 5 pounds to your bench after like a few weeks,
It is. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, I was pushing like 20, 40, 60 kilos. And then after 2 weeks on the gear, I'd come in and put like 3 plates of side on and it'd bounce.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? And I even at one point got one of the weights and put it on the scales to check that it was actually the weight that it was supposed to be. Your enthusiasm for the gym goes through the roof. You can't wait to get to the gym. But as soon as you stop, you can't be arsed. And then you start feeling the pain again.
Yeah.
You think, oh, what's that? What's that? Fuck, is that pain I'm feeling? Is that pain? I don't like this shit. You gym, you don't go as often. You find excuses not to go. You lose all the weight. It drops off you rapidly. You do gain, but you do drop a lot. And then you're waiting for your next circuit. And then you're on it again. And you get body dysmorphic disorder. You look in that mirror and you think you look like a twig. It's like, and it's a horrible thing to get into. And these young kids are climbing onto these drugs, these performance enhancing drugs blind. And man, it's a horrible, horrible circle. And what you said about the roid rage, my God, yeah. I got 3 arrests from roid rage, from just driving down the road, getting out of my car and just screaming and shouting at people because you can't control it.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's like an out-of-body experience. You're sort of like thinking, what are you doing? Don't punch his fucking window. Bang. What? Why have you just done? It's frightening. It's definitely frightening. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, especially compounds like Tren. You said you took Trenbolone for a while, right?
Yeah, Trenbolone was one of the worst ones. And I could actually feel it's hurting my body. I could feel it hurt my body, but it was such a strong steroid.
Did you notice it giving you like really weird, vivid dreams? Oh, I know a lot of people who take it, they experience that.
I got told about Tren cough.
Right, yeah.
And you get a cough. But I used to have night terrors anyway. My missus used to have to jump on my back and pin me down, and I've pulled the curtains down. I've tried climbing out of the window. I've kicked shit and then woke up and with broken toes. So, but that wasn't connected with anything. Okay. I don't know. That's faded now. That's stopped. However, it does increase your metabolic rate and your body core temperature, so you're constantly sweating.
Yeah,
you're constantly hot. You don't need as much sleep. You've got more energy, you've got more drive. Your libido goes through the fucking roof. You're stonking all the time. It's great while you're on it. It's fucking amazing. But you've got to come off it because your body shuts down to it, as you know. Sooner or later, your body goes, hold on a minute, you've tricked me. You've tricked me into going into puberty again. No, I'm not having this. And it shuts everything down again. And it's just a complete waste of time. In fact, I even had a friend who died using them. He started using them. I told him to come off them. I said, you don't go on them constantly. 2 years later, bumped into him again. He'd never come off them. Next thing you know, heart attack, gone, dead. And he was like 6 years younger than me. It's like, fucking hell, man. Dangerous shit, dangerous shit. Oh, my God. So, you're also, I mean, the thing about, I mean, I was glad you came on my channel, and I know why you've come on my channel. I know I'm only a small channel, and you've come on because we need to build up the community, the vegan community. But we've got to appeal to non-vegans as well. It's okay having a big vegan audience, but the idea is to try and get out there to non-vegans. And I think your best tactic I've seen for this is the gaming side of things. You attract a big sort of different customer base, so to speak, for the gaming side of it.
Yeah. I've made some gaming videos here and there, and I do a lot of game streams.
I find that interesting. That draws people in. But I mean, as you know, in the 70s, the best thing you had was Pong. It was two dashes and a dot, and I've watched it evolve over the years. When Space Invaders came out, and they put them in, like, we called them arcades, where there was like just shops full of like games, Space Invaders, and all that stuff. We used to have to go with our pocketfuls of 10p's to go and play. Then the ZX Spectrum came out, and we used to have to wait for like 30 minutes for this cassette to load up, and then it'd crash and do it again. And then the Sega Mega Drive sort of changed it all. And what I'm trying to say is things have evolved so quickly, and everything becomes obsolete so quickly, and then onto the next thing. And what would you say is like the future of gaming in?
Definitely VR. Yeah, definitely VR. Like, as soon as you first start playing it, it's like, holy shit, totally different. You're so connected in a part of the game. It's weird. And especially when you play like horror games, it's totally different when you're just surrounded by your room, and then like you just got a screen and you're just looking at, creepy stuff on the screen. When you're like in VR, like everything's pitch black and you can only look around with a flashlight, and it's just a totally different experience. So I think VR is kind of the future where most games are going to be on. Yeah,
I can imagine. And I mean, my son's playing games now, and he's like screaming and shouting at the computer. You've got Fortnite, which was a bit of a craze.
I fucking hate that game.
It was just a crowd. Kids were just like another Widow game, like World of Warcraft. You know what I mean? It was like just one of those games that people just went for days and come out with beards. No matter how old you were. So VR is the thing. So, away from gaming, away from YouTube, what sort of activism do you do apart from all that? Is there anything else you do?
It's primarily just YouTube activism. I was getting more and more into doing in real life sort of activism, especially with Anonymous for the Voiceless. But then the whole COVID thing, I can't really go out in public and talk to people face to face close right now. I don't know if they've loosened up all the rules with lockdown and stuff, so maybe some of that will kind of come back, where some more groups are doing street activism like Anonymous. But I don't know, I still kind of want to keep my distance from people. I don't think I've gotten COVID yet, and prefer to keep it that way because you never know. I've seen some people lose their limbs from COVID, so just to be safe.
And are you a conspiracy theorist? Do you believe the bullshit, or do you believe it's just transmitted from animals?
It's most likely transmitted from animals. There's a possibility it was made in a lab and it, just escaped. But right now, there just isn't the evidence to support that idea. So,
I mean, that's the thing in it, Richard. It is like it's got to be evidence. I mean, your streams and your channel is, you've got a big gob, you shout, you berate, you really give it, but you back it up. And that's the admirable thing about what you do, is that if you're going to shout your mouth off, you've got to be able to back it up, and you do. And nobody can say anything against that. I mean, you've had a lot of controversy over the years as well with the way you work, and I don't think people, I mean, I can see past the bullshit. It's like, this is entertaining. This is what people want to see. You're not sort of trying to hurt anybody. You're not trying to threaten anybody. But what you do is you tackle subjects that people are scared of. You're like the voice that we have in our heads that we'd like to say, but we don't, you know?
Yeah, I don't really have a filter, so if I'm thinking something, I just say it.
Say it. And has that caused you a lot of trouble? Is there any points in your life where you thought, shit?
No, I think the only thing that I like actually regret doing is the whole baby stomping joke that I had a few years ago. A lot of people didn't pick up on that, like, being a joke. They took it way too seriously.
Exactly.
So
I mean, but what throws me is, why would people even think that you're being serious? You know, it's like, wow, really? You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I picked up on Richie P. Is he called Piana? Richie Piana.
Yeah, Rich Piana.
He died of a heart attack. Heavy steroid user. And you even got his post-mortem results to go through it. And do you know something? At first I was like thinking, should he do this? Should he do this? And the more I thought about it, I'm thinking, look, this guy was on a massive platform telling people to follow this lifestyle.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, there's a guy, I've got a nemesis on Facebook, and this guy is trying to push the keto diet all the time. Every time I post something on, he comes on with this bullshit. And what I've said to him is, I said to him, look, the minute you have a heart attack or a stroke, I'm going to find out which hospital you're in, and I'm going to come in with party poppers and cake and dance in front of your bed. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're going to come on a platform and do something like that and you fall foul, you deserve to be called out, you know? So, yeah, I applaud you for that, mate. It's
true. I
mean,
if you're promoting a lifestyle and that lifestyle leads to you just collapsing dead, I think people should kind of be aware of that.
Too right, yeah. And this is what some people don't get, is that, you know, you can't, you've got to be careful what you say on a public platform. You've got to be careful what you do. I mean, like the Reagan incident. I came on and said, look, this looks like murder to me. If the reports are correct, this looks like murder. And I'm getting people saying, oh, you're going to get sued. They're going to do this to you, going to do that to you. And it's like, well, hold on a minute. I didn't say he is a murderer. I said, with what I can see, it looks like he murdered her, you know?
Yeah.
But again, you've got to be careful what you say. Do you think about things before you go out there?
Yeah, when it comes to accusations, especially an accusation that could have legal consequences, yeah. Like with the Reagan death thing, I did say, it looks to me like I was there at the scene and like looked at everything. It looks like, yeah, it was intentional. It's just kind of hard to believe that the dude with a clear line of fucking sight just like blew right through her. And, you know, the guy has to have some experience behind a truck. So it just didn't make any sense. Obviously, there has to be a police report and everything. Like, who knows? Maybe he sneezed or, you know, I don't know, had like some, like passed out for a sec. Like any weird thing could happen. Or maybe it was just a like poor judgment where he thought she'd move out of the way or something. So it can be hard to prove intent, but you know, at the very least, it was horrible, horrible negligence. And yeah, at worst, it was just an intentional murder.
Yeah. Because, I mean, as a trucker myself, I don't know whether you know I'm a trucker.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of blind spots. But when I see people around my truck, the first thing I do is like, where's the fuck is that person gone? You know, and if I can't see the fuckers and I don't know where they've gone, I'm out of the wagon and I'm walking around seeing where the hell they are, you know?
Yeah.
So there was some. I mean, no, he's never ever going to get a murder charge, and I don't think he's ever going to get a manslaughter charge. But he is guilty of wrongdoing. Full stop. But
well, it's pretty weird the way the Highway Traffic Act works here, because he was clearly guilty of like horrible negligence, but it's not a criminal charge for some reason to be so like negligent behind a wheel that you end up killing somebody. Like, how is that not fucking criminal?
Yeah. Again, it's like, did they jump or were they pushed? You know, it's like, if someone steps in front of my car and I kill them, I'm not guilty. I've done nothing wrong. However, if they find out I was tapping away on my phone and the person stepped out in front of my car, that's it. I'm banged to rights. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. We're going to start throwing questions out, people, in a short while. So start throwing them up now if you've got any questions. So let's talk about after YouTube, because every now and again, someone's bubble's going to burst. Something might happen. YouTube might shut down. You might lose your popularity. You know, you might get into some controversy that fucks you off YouTube completely. What are your plans like for the next 20 years? Have you got a game plan? Or are you just taking it easy and as it comes?
You know, like I don't really usually think that far ahead. I know all of those things are possible, but I have a pretty wide range of interests and skill sets. So no matter what happens, I think I'll be fine. There's plenty of other platforms to stream on, upload videos to. You know, I can do personal training, online coaching. I'm good with photography. I'm good with tools and shit. Like if I wanted to get a construction job, I could probably do that pretty easily. There's a lot of different things I could do, so I'm not too worried about it. Jasmine and I are also starting OnlyFans, where it's like basically pornography. So she's already started hers. It's called Freshworm Buns, and I'm planning on starting mine soon. So it's another stream of revenue.
Really? So you're going to start getting butt naked for the camera?
Yeah.
You're a strange fucker.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Like Jasmine and I, we kind of started off doing this, just taking photos of each other with our cameras and like showing each other. And then once we heard like people are making insane amounts of cash on OnlyFans, like there are people making 20 grand a week. So it's like, oh shit. So yeah, why not? Like we're doing that anyways. It's just that we're not showing the photos. So, you know.
Yeah. I can't fault you, mate. I mean, I'm going to start looking for some like Grandad sites, you know.
Yeah.
There must be some people into that shit. Right, let's have a look. Let's see if there's any questions. Some people are talking about. Someone's asking me when I'm starting mine. Yeah, very funny. Very funny. Any questions out there? I just want to give a shout out to I'm Easy Vegan, who's a big Vegan Gains fan. He's been pestering me to just give him a mention to you, Richard. So, let's see if there's anything. Is there anything you want to get out there, Richard, to people who are on at the moment?
Well, I do see some questions.
If you can grab some up then. And
yeah, I'm Easy Vegan asked, Richard, you previously have spoke about mental health. What would your advice be to someone with anxiety and potential PTSD that is possibly holding them back in their activism? So there's a number of ways to deal with anxiety. I think one of the best ways is to just put yourself in a situation that might make you feel a bit anxious. But just keep doing it until you feel a little more comfortable. I know, like you mentioned activism in particular. I don't know if there's a social aspect to it, but I definitely know social anxiety, just being in social situations for a longer period of time and just getting more used to, interacting with people, that can definitely help. So, you kind of have to go out of your comfort zone a little bit and just get used to it. There are some other things you can do. I mean, I have recommended CBD oil before, and I think CBD oil is actually pretty effective for most people for dealing with anxiety. It just has a calming effect. It doesn't make you high or anything. So as long as you get high cannabinoid, low THC CBD oil, then it'll just have a calming effect. And it's best to take it in the morning before you eat. And if you have PTSD, I'd recommend seeing like a therapist, like a psychologist or something. I'm not really sure how to deal with PTSD. That's kind of above my pay grade and outside of my area of expertise. But
Yeah.
I know with anxiety, I've dealt with a lot of it myself. And especially with social anxiety, I've had social anxiety for a long time. One of the best things to do is to just go out of your comfort zone a little bit and ease yourself into social situations. And eventually you do just get more comfortable and better at it. So if you feel that's holding you back in your activism and you want to do more activism, I'd say go out of your comfort zone a little bit and maybe actually go see a professional therapist for PTSD.
Yeah, it's really good advice, because PTSD, I think it does need therapy. It's not a one size fits all. I know a few people who've come across that, and PTSD isn't necessarily, it can hit anybody for any reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I was assaulted by 2 corrupt police coppers, and they basically tried pinning a charge of assault on me, and then I spent 6 months waiting to see if I was going to lose my liberty, lose my house, lose my family, and lose my job, and that really mashed my head. I don't think I suffered PTSD. I just suffered a little bit of anxiety when I was out. I got nervous when I saw the police about, but it did fade.
Yeah, and I think with mental health issues, like a lot of people are kind of ashamed to actually get help for it because they feel like they haven't really experienced a significant amount of trauma. Like there's this shame around trying to get help. It's like, oh, well, you think you have it so bad, other people have it worse than you. You can experience these issues no matter how good your situation is. You can develop PTSD for a number of reasons and anxiety for a number of reasons. So just seek help for it if you have an issue with it.
Little bit of a tangent, mate. Speaking of steroids, do you think Frank Tufano's started on gear? Because he seems to have...
There's a possibility. So there's a few things that makes me think he might be, and there's a few things that make me think he's not. For one thing, he didn't actually gain that much weight. And he stayed like at relatively the same body fat percentage. So when he first started, I think he weighed in at 145 or something. And then his then the next weigh-in he did, like once he was done his transformation, I think he only weighed like 155 or something. It was a very, very small weight gain. It wasn't much.
Yeah.
So he's a really short dude. And I think just the way his frame and the way the muscle sits on his body, I don't think he has to really gain much to make it look like it's a big improvement. He constantly lies about his numbers and his weight and how much things have changed. So I think if he was on gear, he probably wouldn't have to do that. He's also incredibly weak for a man, especially for a dude who claims to have been in bodybuilding for so long. So again, even if you're not gaining that much muscle, like you didn't put on that much weight, a lot of steroids, they actually stimulate your nervous system. So you can find that just instantly from the first injection, you might actually get a little bit stronger just because of the effect it has on your nervous system.
Yeah.
So because he's so weak, but some people don't respond so well. There was that guy who runs the channel Train to Look Good Naked. I can't remember his name, but he was on Trenbolone for a while, and he looked like he was just, a beginner lifter. He wasn't that strong. I think he didn't even get to benching 315 for 1 rep. So some people just don't respond well. And the weirdest thing to me is that Frank started drawing his blood. He started getting, he claimed he's getting his blood donated. I don't know if he can legally do that because he's gay. So I'm not sure what the whole story is there. But yeah, a lot of steroid users, they actually get their blood drawn because it removes platelets, because steroids cause platelet aggregation, and that can increase your risk of heart attack and stroke.
Yeah.
And it can also affect your cardiovascular system. It can be really hard to breathe. So they'll get their blood drawn, and that removes all the platelets, and it thins out their blood. So their heart attack and stroke risk goes down. It's kind of weird timing that Frank started getting his blood drawn right when he did this whole bodybuilding transformation thing. And he's also made a bunch of posts on his Reddit account talking about asking for advice for steroids. So kind of weird. And I've seen him have weird acne here and there. So
yeah, but I've been checking it out, and I never used to tell my wife when I was on gear. I never used to tell her, but she used to know all the time.
Yeah.
And there's one particular part of your body that grows very, very quickly when you're on gear, and it's your chest, and it grows outwards. And I notice when I'm on gear, when I'm lying in bed, I look down and I can see my chest after a couple of weeks on gear. And that's what I've noticed about Frank. Not all of his body, just his chest has gone woof. And that is the one thing that's told me that maybe he's trying a bit of juice.
Yeah, maybe. There's a chance, like, you never know, like, unless he admits to it, but he hasn't made an insane amount of progress. He might just not respond well or not. Yeah,
but have you seen how he trains though? I mean,
yeah.
The thing is, when you're on gear, you've got to push yourself out of your comfort level. I mean, I've ripped my shoulder that side, and I've ripped my shoulder that side from doing unnatural movements like that one, and that is torn bad. That is scar tissue now, and every now and again that rips, and I can't train because you go, but when you're on gear, you've got to go that extra mile, unless you're someone like the fighters, the cage fighters, who use it for endurance training, because it does help your endurance training. So they don't necessarily go big, but they get a lot of endurance and get a very lean, sort of strong, hard body out of it. Yeah. Tofu or tempeh?
Well, technically tempeh is a little bit healthier for you. It's fermented. It's less processed, but I don't think it really matters if you eat one more than the other. There's some benefits with tofu. I think it's a bit higher in calcium, and I'd say it's easier to flavor. I think it's maybe a little easier if you're inexperienced to cook it and make it taste good if you eat tempeh, but if you know a little bit about cooking tofu, I think it's a bit easier to flavor and make taste good.
Grandad, I don't know if you're open about this, but what other drugs have you taken in your experience with them? Psychedelics? Oh yeah, in the 80s, the rave scene, the illegal rave scene, yeah, was all over the LSD. Yeah, I've taken those.
I've never taken. You've taken ecstasy too?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've never taken LSD, but I've done my fair share of mushrooms. I've done a lot.
Oh, I've done mushrooms.
I'm planning on taking them in the near future too.
Yeah, it's a natural thing as well. I mean, every sort. I think it's in England. It's I think it's around about the September time that they start growing. It's usually at the end of summer that we see all the arses in the combing through grass all over the country for those sort of things. What's your fitness goals, both of you, for this year?
I messed up my wrist really bad falling on my rollerblades, so I think I just want to get my wrist kind of healthy enough to weight train again. But goals for the year, I just want to basically build a small home gym. I can't really train at the gym right now just because of the whole COVID situation. So hopefully just build up a decent home gym, make some gains. I don't really have any huge goals for weight training, just, build up my physique a bit and lose some weight, just get abs. That's really my fitness goals for this year.
Yeah, I mean, I've just come to the end of a 12-month stripping program, and now I'm building up the I'm carb cycling. So hopefully by the beginning of summer next year, I should have a half decent physique. I'm hoping to sort of build it up slowly and naturally and show people that you can build muscle on a vegan diet. I was going to ask you this as well, but Michelle's beat me to it. What are your views about the young activists such as Activist and the Vegan Kid? They're amazing for the future of veganism.
Yeah, so I've heard about them. I haven't really looked into their social media or anything. I know the ones on Instagram, so I don't know too much about them. It's good that kids are getting involved. I think I've seen this with a lot of vegan parents. They're worried about showing their kids things like Earthlings and Dominion. I don't think there's any wrong age to show kids that. Like, I mean, I think it's probably more cruel to kids to let them go and eat McDonald's and not tell them what's behind that food and leave them ignorant than to show them that and let them choose for themselves like what they want to do with that information. So I think it's good that there's more young kids getting into activism. I think it's also good that they're actually coming out and talking to people on the street. Like with me, I might get a lot of pushback from, morons saying like, oh, it's okay to like murder animals. Who cares? Like, it's kind of weird saying that to like a young kid, talking that harshly, like, who fucking cares if, like an animal dies? I've heard people try to justify, like, I bring up the comparison, like, okay, why do you have a dog? Like, why don't you eat your dog? It's kind of, and they've actually bit the bullet on that, and they said, oh yeah, like it's fine to eat a dog. If I was in China, I'd eat dog. Kind of weird to say that to like, a 10-year-old kid. So I think that's also kind of good for them to come out and do activism and, get involved in the whole scene.
I mean, you should have a look at his activist. He was supposed to come on tonight. I said he kept bugging me, saying, "Can he come on? Please, let me come on, Vegan Gains." And he's on a train. He's going to be late back. I mean, if he does pop up, I'll throw him on. But he's really well informed, and he's got it all sussed, mate. It's like talking to a seasoned 40-year-old vegan activist. He's just amazing. And he's doing a lot of street activism. He's doing the gutsy stuff, going outside McDonald's. He's bought himself a loud hailer now. So he's, you know what I mean? He's got his favorite copper who he hates and started doing memes about this copper. So nice. Yeah, and he's just getting the support. And that vegan kid who's in the chat, actually, hi, that vegan kid, he's in Colombia. And he's like, wow, South America is not the place for veganism at the moment. And it's like, and the only reason he got into veganism was playing a game, which made him go on to look at the Game Changers. WFC, I think he was playing something like that. And he went looking for some videos and come across the Game Changers, and that flipped him. 11 years old. Amazing.
Interesting, yeah.
Yeah, Hench is on. Vegan Gaze is on. Vegan Gaze, what do you think about Vegan Gaze stealing your name, trying to get some of your traffic there? She's done it on purpose as well, as far as I can see. She's sort of done that to sort of get traffic going her way, I think. I'll have to have words with her about that. I think she needs to change it. Can you see?
Yeah.
Only joking.
But not rollerblade? That's weird. I guess you do have to balance a little bit more on rollerblades.
Yeah, I used to be a good roller skater. We used to have roller discos back in the day, and I don't know what's happened to those. Those were great. That was a really entertaining, family-friendly place to sort of, because it's really good for your legs and really good for cardio as well.
It's insanely good cardio. I've been doing it lately. Holy crap. I was doing just cycling on my stationary bike. And then just after a week of rollerblading, the stationary bike is super easy. I was pedaling on like level 6, and now I can easily do level 10 just after a week of rollerblading.
I mean, it's one of those sports. It's a bit like when you go to these trampolining places and you jump on a trampoline for like 30 minutes. It's fun. Yeah. But when you get off on the day after, and then you've got like, whoa, what the fuck? My ass, my thighs, what? It's like, yeah, it's really, really, really enjoyable. Sports is the way forward if you're not a big sort of cardio person. Richard, I've just started skating again as well. Are you going to start hitting the skate parks, learning some grinds? We need to make a vegan skate video.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to get into aggressive skating. Like, I have pretty messed up knees, so I don't know, the jumping and landing and stuff, I don't know if my knees could handle it. I might get into skating bowls. I might do something like that. I don't know if I'll get into grinding though. I've gotten pretty decent at skating. Like I used to play hockey and rollerblade a lot as a kid, and I'm almost where I was when I was a kid with rollerblading. And right now I'm just practicing on hard stopping techniques like power slides, and I've almost got it down. So yeah, I might end up doing some aggressive skating in the future, but I don't know if I'll do the grinds. I'll probably just focus on skating bulls.
When you get your gym equipment, you've mentioned, are we going to see some big vegan gains?
Probably. I mean, if like, especially my gym was close by anyway, but you know, I think it'll be easier to just stay consistent if I have a home gym.
I'm planning to open a home gym as well. Can you guys recommend which equipment I should buy? Because personally, Vegan King, I'll answer before Richard does, is that I don't believe in home gyms. I just haven't got the motivation to be at home and gym. I feel the need to sort of travel to the gym. So I work because I've traveled. I'm not going to fuck about. Even during COVID lockdown, I could not train at home. I just could not do it. So I ended up starting running and doing a bit of cardio and running and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know about you, Richard, but I just cannot train at home, mate.
Yeah, so I'd recommend checking out Scooby 1961. He actually has a lot of really good videos on building a home gym. I'd say if you have an issue with space efficiency, I'd say don't go for a power rack. But basically, I don't know what they're called, but they're these universal stands that you can use in place of a squat rack and a bench rack. So you can, do squats. You can use it to lift out with a bench, and all you need is like a barbell set, those stands, and a bench, and then you can pretty much do every exercise you need to just with that bit of equipment, and it's very space efficient. You can just tuck it away in a closet really easily.
Yeah, big shout out to Hench Herbivore. Thank you for the shout outs on your channel, mate. Really appreciated that. Let's have a look. The next big vegan documentary should be designed just for kids.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. I know a lot of people are still really skeptical about, whether or not, vegan diet is good for kids. There's actually quite a bit of research on this already. I actually did a stream last night where there's research from the 80s.
I watched it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unsurprisingly, if you eat a pretty healthy diet, your kids are going to be fine. And I think in that study, the vegan kids tended to be a little smaller, but I don't think it was statistically significant. But now in 2019, there's research showing there's no growth differences.
Grumpy Vegan Grandad, when non-vegans make fun of vegan, isn't it best to give the same treatment right back? Well, personally, mate, it just depends what they're saying. If you can see that they're being a total fucking dick, yes, like vegan deterioration. But normally the best way is just to kill them with kindness. Just like I just say, thank you for that eloquent comment. Please come to my channel and speak again. Because the thing is, it doesn't matter what comments come on your channels. It's all interaction. So it causes more interaction. So yeah, and 9 times out of 10, other people come to my aid and start giving this person the stick anyway. I don't have to do a thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a bit childish in my eyes. But yeah, some people do deserve it.
I like to just shut them down with cold hard facts. Like, even if they're joking, I'll just take everything they say absolutely seriously, and then like, here's study. No, you're wrong. That usually shuts them up pretty quickly.
Yeah, there's that as well, but I'm not as clued up as you are. How did you sort of get into that? How did you did you sort of suss it all out yourself? Did you take time, sit down, have a look at them?
So I was watching, the first evidence-based vegan channel that I watched was this guy named Plant Positive, and after watching through his whole series of videos, I just learned how to do research on my own. Yeah, not too many people know of him. I don't think he's uploading anymore, but you should check out Plant Positive. He did a whole series on keto diets, paleo primal. It's great, and that's how I got into the whole, doing research on your own.
Yeah, Vegan Gaze, the rip-off of Vegan Gains, says, thank goodness you did a video on that copy pasta VG, because that was god-awful garbage. Yeah, it was. It was
the most hypocritical nonsense I've ever seen in my life. He claimed that vegans are like biased in some way, therefore you can't trust anything they say. Well, obviously he's biased, so I guess we can't trust anything he says. Then he claimed like they appeal to authority. He appealed to authority constantly. He even provided evidence against his claims. Like, he claimed, all the grains and stuff we make, it's not being used to feed animals. And then he actually provided research showing that it is. And he said, we kill animals humanely. And then he proved that, no, we don't. It was great.
I'm a vegan. Both my children are vegan, like UK Vegan Family people. Go and follow them. Great little family. My son has been vegan his whole life and is a unit. So yeah, he's a strong little kid. Yeah. It's this generation of people, Richard. It's this now. These generations of kids now being born to vegans now. is the future of veganism, and they're going to be under a microscope for the next 20 years. I think it's going to be a real eye opener for the vegan world, I think, as these kids get older. Definitely.
Yeah, I think especially since there's still a lot of doubt with, raising kids vegan, I think it's a good thing that they're becoming activists and, showing that, yeah, you can be raised vegan your entire life and be fine. I know Nimai Delgado, he was raised vegetarian. He's never eaten meat before.
He's a unit. Hit them with logic, then make fun of them. Yes. Says the expert. Says the expert there.
Yeah, my strategy is to just prove them wrong and then call them retarded.
Right. Who do you think is the worst anti-vegan YouTuber? My answer is quick and simple. Vegan Deterioration. She is fucking thick as shit. I hate her.
Yeah, she'd have to be up there. As bad as Sfarage and everyone is, at least they have some way of coming up with arguments. I know Sfarage has done that same sort of thing though, where he has a slideshow of, vegans who he thinks is unhealthy, but at least he cherry picks ones that actually usually do look bad. He cherry picks dudes who are raw and starving themselves for 30 days, eating nothing but water. She just pulls up photos of normal looking people. It's weird.
Yeah. She's done me. And I'm like, yes.
I mean, she doesn't look any better than these people she criticizes.
Did you see the video of her? She looked like she was frozen from the lips up. Botox or what? Unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Botox. Some people just have a very a not very animated face, but
mate, no, come on. I tried it. I tried talking that's impossible, mate.
Yeah, maybe it was Botox. I don't know.
I hope someone gets to us and lets us know if this is true or not. So have a look. Vegan gays, best way to get back is telling me you love air fryers. Oh, piss off with your air fryers. It's just you make bad food worse with air fryers. Come on, you can only make chips with those. I have a question for Richard. Why did he remove the video about Islam?
YouTube changed their community guidelines, and just to be safe, I removed that video. So here's the thing. I wasn't really attacking any individuals in that video, and I made sure to say, I don't have any problem with Muslim people. It's just the religion itself I have an issue with. Because I basically committed the cardinal sin of their religion where I dressed as the Prophet Muhammad and everything and made fun of him. It could be seen as sort of culturally insensitive and making fun of their culture. So I just played it safe. I didn't want to get taken down again, so I just deleted the video.
I mean, I'm totally anti-religion. I mean, I always say if I was going to go to any religion, if I decided to, I would go to devil worship, Satan worship, because I don't think I've seen any stories in the news about anybody killing in the name of the devil. So there's my little...
None are confirmed anyway.
None confirmed. We're all over air fryers. Shut up about the air fryers. Your thoughts on Jeff Nelson, Veg Source?
So Jeff Nelson's kind of weird. He's a little paranoid. I know he thought Bite Size Vegan was some computer hacker who was after him when she's really bad with computers. She doesn't even care about Jeff. I think he tried to make a bunch of lawsuits against people who are criticizing him for some reason. He's made some videos that were kind of off the mark. He was kind of supporting Caudill Esselstyn's idea that, you have to eat pretty much zero fat. And the research just doesn't support that idea. Healthy fat sources like nuts, seeds, avocados, and small amounts of oils, especially from cold pressed oils, there's no evidence that it's harmful for your heart. So I think Jeff Nelson, he is well-meaning in a lot of ways, but he's also just kind of a weird, paranoid dude.
I don't know what we're debating with vegan gays about.
How about just fight me rather than a debate, cage match?
Richard, I know you leave Daphne alone now. I actually think she's in love with you. And is she jealous of Jasmine? She's made another video about you. She's honestly not well.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm pretty convinced she suffers from some form of psychosis. She might even have schizophrenia. She admitted during, like, in one of her videos that when she looks at photos of the Hubble telescope, she sees brush strokes, like as if it's an oil painting. She's literally admitted to seeing things that just aren't there. She's definitely not mentally well. Yeah, sure.
Right. Well, listen. We've been going a good hour now, mate. We'll get a few more questions in, and then I think we will call it. What are your thoughts on Bart K? Personally, my thoughts on Bart K is he's great entertainment. I love watching him. He's great for the vegan movement because he shows just how stupid some pro-meat, pro-carne people are in that community. So anybody who's a total dick, I really love them. I say go follow them and keep exposing them.
Yeah, Bart K is just a grifter. Nothing he says makes any sense, and he contradicts himself constantly. The double standard when it comes to what he considers credible evidence is just insane. I remember I think I asked him directly, like, what evidence he needs to show that cholesterol is causally related to heart disease. He said there needs to be lifelong twin studies that are perfectly controlled, which would, of course, never happen. And then he thinks that, a few Facebook posts that people make, saying, oh, yeah, I tried the carnivore diet and I'm all healthy now. He thinks that's good enough to support, the carnivore diet. The dude is just a grifter. Everything he does is just to get Patreon dollars. He's tried to convince his fans to give him more money when he kind of sees they're losing interest in, his whole thing. He's tried to make copyright claims against Michelle Lowe, and he's done a bunch of just insane things that proves he's just after money. And I don't think he really believes in a lot of what he says.
I think that's the same case with John Venus as well. I think it's all about money. It's just so obvious that, but it's hard to sort of bring it out loud. But my God, it's like, oh, I've got 3/4 of the population who are going to side with me on this now. Maybe I can make a bit more money out of that. And I can't believe someone would do that because, yeah, there's a lot of people doing it. There's a guy over here called Tommy who's done the same. And
oh yeah, Tofu Tommy.
Yeah, and it's a shame because what we're saying, like Richard Piana, if he died from, and there's that chef who was a big anti-vegan and he died of a heart attack, and I laugh my socks off about him. I don't want to do it with people like this because, like, Tommy's a nice guy and he's just like crazy. Why he would just sort of jump on this bandwagon. So right, let's have a look. One more question. There's money to be made in making people feel better about it. Yeah, of course there is. Of course,
absolutely.
That just reminds me. I don't know whether you're aware of Greggs in the UK, Richard. But there's a site on Instagram now called Humane League. What they're trying to do is get better welfare. They're supposedly a vegan outfit, and they're getting companies like Greggs to come along and say, we will treat the chickens a little better. 25% of the chickens in the whole of the UK will be on this better welfare program, and come to Greggs because, hallelujah, we're going to use this program. And I've said this is bullshit. I've said this is absolute bullshit. Higher welfare, what's that going to do,
Well, there's two issues with that. For one thing, I don't know how you'd hold them accountable. There's organizations like Whole Foods that have done this, where they claim they have this humane, animal welfare program, and then when you actually investigate the farms, many of them are horrible fucking hellholes, and these animals are being kept in dark, damp sheds, and it's just like a factory farm. So I don't know how you'd hold them accountable. And on top of that, they use this as a marketing strategy. So you're just encouraging more people to eat meat. Vegans aren't animal welfareists. We're animal abolitionists.
Yeah.
So to promote animal welfare when you're an abolitionist, I think that goes against your own moral values, and you're just helping a company market themselves to sell more meat. So I think it's total horseshit.
Last question. Greg's vegan sausage rolls are so yummy, but this is dumb as fuck. Humane slaughter doesn't exist and it never will. Just stop justifying abuse and murder. Yeah, but it's a little bit different from that. It's what it's actually saying is they'll stop using broiler chickens, which grow so quickly that the legs can't hold the weight. I think they grow a full chicken in like 6 weeks. It's crazy. Frankenstein chickens. And I think they're trying to stop that. Probably giving them a maximum amount of chicken. But it's still, that's not the point. Because when people feel better about a certain product, they won't ever think about going vegan. Of course they won't.
Yeah.
They'll say, no, yeah, it's fine. We're using these high welfare chickens. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You're right. I won't go vegan now.
Yeah, you have to focus on the actual problem that these animals are being murdered, not that they're being mistreated.
Definitely, mate. Right, listen, thank you so much for coming on my little channel and giving everybody a little taster of yourself as Richard and Vegan Gains. Absolutely love your channel. Everybody who's in the chat now, if you don't subscribe to Vegan Gains, please go over to his channel and have a look. It's so much information there that you can use in your own activism. It really is useful stuff. So please go over there and have a look. So all I can say is, any last words, Richard, before we pop off?
Not really. Just keep making those vegan gains, I suppose.
And keep making those grumpy vegan gains.
Yeah.